Your Grace Archbishop Elias Gonsalves, Your Grace Dr. Joseph Madanish, the Metropolitan of Calcutta, Ms. Bani Dhawan, the Chief Resource Person of the day, all the reverend and dear ones and respected school leaders. Welcome to the webinar organized by MGM Group of Institutions and Association of Chhattisgarh Christian Educational Societies. For years, we have been discussing about how to integrate technology into education. I think this pandemic has become a blessing in disguise. The schools, we are forced to integrate technology for transacting our curriculum. The schools, the colleges, universities, everyone is frantically searching for how to integrate technology in the field of education. Today, we are going to focus on this. Nowadays, it has become a common habit that if we are in doubt or if we are not getting an answer, we turn to Google. Today also, we are going to do the same. As we are on the crossroads, we are at a dilemma about offline and online education. We are going to look at Google. Today we are with us, Ms. Bani Dhawan, who is the Head of Education of South Asia Google Cloud India Limited. A very warm and hearty welcome, dear Ms. Bani Dhawan. As I said in the beginning, we are also today blessed with the personalities of Archbishop Elias Gonsalves, who is also heading the Archdiocese of Nagpur and Amravati and WRCFE. Archbishop would guide us throughout the interactions about his experience in the digital platform, how it was able to be integrated and spread across the schools. And we are also blessed to have the presence of His Grace Dr. Joseph Madanish, who is the President of MGM Group of Institutions. On behalf of everyone who are assembled here, I welcome both the Archbishops to this webinar. We also expect the presence of other bishops of Chhattisgarh region, and we are happy to have Mr. Francis Joseph, who is leading School Leaders Network. Welcome, Francis Joseph. We are also blessed to have the presence of Mr. Vinod Verma, and I also take this opportunity to welcome all the education leaders, the regional secretaries of Chhattisgarh, as well as WRCFE and education directors and secretaries as well. I also take this opportunity to welcome all the school leaders, the principals, administrators, vice presidents of Access, as well as MGM Group of Institutions. Today, Ms. Bani Dhawan would be leading us through G Suite as well as Google Education. We are really honored and really privileged to have such a wonderful personality with us in spite of this busy schedule, because the lockdown has created a dilemma and all schools are frantically looking towards Google Classroom. And I got a message that when we send an application, we are on waiting because they have to deal with more than 25,000 students. I mean, 25,000 applications from schools. So I hope and believe that this evening is going to make a great impact on our schools by the presentation of Ms. Bani Dhawan. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Hello, Bishop. Thank you so much for inviting. Pleasure to see you again. Francis, sir, thank you. Pleasure again. Thank you for bringing such great thinkers together. You're always leading. You're always guiding. So, and we are here to support you in whichever manner we can. Thank you, sir, for the very kind words on Google. We are humbled, and we are also proud of the fact that you're giving us this opportunity. We will do our best to actually provide you not only an overview, but also address some of the challenges that you probably probably have already experienced or are thinking about. So would like to make it as interactive as possible. I will take a couple of slides and I will request my colleague Vinod to actually present and demo Google Classroom as one of our flagship products. But Vinod, if you can actually present the slides on the Google for Education vision as I speak, that would be great. So from an overall perspective globally, we have always found that whenever there has been a question in terms of personalized learning, collaborative learning, or 21st century skills, our technologies and how it can actually support the education stakeholder was happening pretty early on. In fact, for us as Google for Education, our team was formed almost 10 years back. Wherever the internet and online learning phenomenon became a reality, a lot more schools, a lot more education institutions and governments came online. The idea was that not only are 21st century skills important from a job market perspective, I think the fundamental part was that in some ways, the blended learning approach, how we can actually provide or democratize access to information, and it has to be done through technology in the most scalable manner, was always being thought about. In India, we are actually seeing a phenomenon, as we are calling it, the future of computing came early. Why we say the future of computing has come early is because a lot of our conversations in India was that how do we make it our own? How do we, not only accept online learning as a reality for 21st century skills, but Father, I think
Kindly mute the mics. Other participants, kindly mute the mics.
Thank you. And so thank you, sir. So the idea was always that, how can we, like India, the question was always that where do we find the balance? Not only balance in terms of what we want as part of our culture, where we believe that, we want that cultural or the social interaction, that we want students to come into schools, not only interact with their peers, but also provide that sense of well-being. The demographics of our country are so varied in a particular city, in a smaller city as well. So it was really, really important for us to think deeper on questions on how does it, equate on equity. Can we actually provide the same type of access, the same type of learning to everybody? And we as Google have always thought about it that if we were to implement technology in the right way, taking along everybody, the purpose of not only adapting to our culture, but also how we believe the blended model will look like. What type of learning would like to conduct, for how many hours we would like to conduct, and in a most secure manner we would like to conduct will be answered. And I'm very proud to say that not only have we embraced it very, very quickly, but what we have seen is that the resistance that probably was in terms of, it's new, it's a new technology, how will we get on board? We don't want to do this. We are experts at what we do. And then how do we, move through that challenge was also very easily accepted. Some parts because we had to continue learning. The other was also because once schools accepted the fact that this was going to be reality, and this is not a short-term decision we are taking, it's a long-term transformational decision we are taking, the educator community actually felt that, now we know how to manage technology. So I will begin by saying technology is only an enabler. It will enable teachers to do what they are best at and will facilitate that provision of providing the wealth of knowledge you have to a large section of students. And what we really believe as Google is that whatever we do as an educator community, students should be at the center, and their interest and what kind of models and pedagogy will work for them, technology should enable. So pedagogy, teacher, providing a very secure environment for the students, for these teaching and learning is of paramount importance. So what we facilitate through G Suite for Education is all of these. And why do I say that? Next slide, please, Vinod. So while students in the 21st century, as part of their skill sets, will require to work as teams, will require to collaborate. I think all of us have experienced that today in our life. Why are we even saying that our students will have to experience it? Today we have been forced to come out of our comfort zone and find and seek seek learning models and seek expertise that we had never thought of before. We had to change very quickly. Now that will become a reality for all our students. The job market will shift. The reality of how we interact, will change. How we need to be aware of actually collaborating for solving big problems would change. So we really need education also to change in that direction, so that we skill our students to not only adapt to changes quickly, but also become problem seekers and finding solutions to those problems or challenges. So again, technology, Google for Education technology should enable teachers to do what they do best. And what we believe they do best is to nurture the learning environment, are very strong in pedagogy. They know their subjects very well. So how do we actually non-intrusively and as an enabler come in and provide you that environment to actually help you reach your student even faster? Next slide, please, Vinod. The vision that we have on education, and this has been happening, like I said, globally for over 7 to 10 years. But what we've seen as a super fast pace, especially during the COVID challenge, has been that this has become even more urgent. This has even become more important because of the variations in India that we have. We have a set of students in every part of India, every state of India, that will have access, that will be able to come on synchronous learning for whatever duration of time, whether it's for an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, depending on their age, to those that probably will not have that kind of access. Probably they do not have the internet connections, probably they do not have access to devices, and we need to address those challenges. And that itself is a very large group, so access has to be addressed. And then finally is a group of students that probably are, so far removed from a synchronous learning environment. So we need to think of an asynchronous model for them. How do we record these lectures? How do we make sure that whatever form of access, whether it's on TV, whether it's on radio, whether it's in the asynchronous format, they are able to take out some time and be able to be connected to learning. And I would again say that this is until we can find that hybrid where all of us are able to come back into schools in a secure environment. The theme of security is on both the physical school side as also, I would say, on the virtual school side. So just like when we are very careful as educators on the kind of technologies or the kind of platform or the kind of school infrastructure that we should set up is 100% secure, just like that, I draw an analogy with G Suite for Education. While we are servicing 120 million users worldwide, we have kept security and ease of use as our fundamental core practices. We want that all teachers and all students are provided, school level IDs that are completely secure and 100% managed by the school, so that they are aware of not only who that child is, just like we give them roll numbers in the physical world, they are given unique IDs in the virtual world. And just like in the physical world, you plan for a new school year and you assign 6th grade A to one set of sections and teachers, students and teachers, and assign 8th B to another set. You will exactly do that in the virtual environment. The promise is that it will be as easy, and obviously there is a learning curve, so I wouldn't take that away, but it will be as easy and as secure as you were familiar with. Just that your physical environment will work in the virtual environment. And then as we go through this journey of transformation, at some point in time, over a period of time, it will become a blended model. Each school will decide how much of what they want to do physically and how much they want to take online. And that will be a collective decision that you would take as school management, as parents, and as teachers. The next slide, please, Vinod, before, yeah, I can. So I will, my last slide is actually about what does Google for Education mean and what all does it include. So the 3 pillars of Google for Education is platform, We call it G Suite for Education, and Google Classroom is one of the applications or tools within G Suite for Education. G Suite for Education is a free platform. It is equivalent to, if some of you have experienced the Microsoft Office environment, which will have documents, which will have slides, which will have Google Meet, which will have Google Classrooms, Jamboard for you to write on as a whiteboard. And Vinod will be taking you through to some of those tools. But the idea is that the platform for virtual learning should be provided free of cost. And we also provide unlimited drive storage. And unlimited drive storage is provided so that you can record some of these sessions for the asynchronous learning that we spoke about. So wherever you could do synchronous learning, it should happen using Google Classroom and Meet. But if the majority of the students have to go at their own pace or do not have access, learning should not stop. The second pillar for us is an important security bucket and a privacy bucket. Why do I say that? The moment internet comes into the conversation, and why most of us is probably being skeptical, is also we believe that the internet brings in inappropriate content. It brings in, this idea of screen time or too much of time spent on, content that might not be education related. Now, that was a problem that the world had questioned us on, 7 years ago. And what our response to that was that technology will be able to provide a secure education experience for that. There is a dashboard, and our devices are called Chromebooks. So between G Suite for Education and Chromebooks as our device, both the device side as well as the user side is completely managed to provide an education experience. It can be as managed as saying, I only want the student to have access to this device for 2 hours of the day and for restricted content, which is 1, 2, and 3. So you can curate apps, you can create videos, you can create assignments, or you can also run online or offline assessments. And the student will only have access to that. The student will not have access to anything else on the internet unless and until the school decides that this is the kind of infrastructure we want to provide. This is very, very managed, very tightly managed by school authorities, by large districts, by state governments in mature markets where internet has already been solved. But in the Indian school context, we have a lot of schools who are investing in both G Suite for Education and Chromebooks, because today the worry is that we need to manage the experience for the student and provide the kind of security that all of us expect. And finally, the content bucket. The content bucket is where we have products like YouTube. India has launched an entire YouTube learning channel during COVID. And where we are actually talking about curriculum-based content. And I know for the conversations that we are having, the trainings that we are doing, also the YouTube channel has become a big medium or a platform. So you can come together on a YouTube platform, you can record yourselves, or you can actually record some of your classrooms and contribute to the larger community. It can also be done as a central effort, where whatever one teacher is teaching, she can actually share, or he or she can actually share with a larger group, and your peers can actually learn from each other and come online with each other on YouTube. So it's a very strong content channel and also a training channel. We also have other applications like Bolo, which is now Read Along, which is for primary school students. This actually promotes learning or reading literacy. There is an AI-built buddy called Dia in the app, and that buddy or that AI-based interface actually reads along with the child, and they pause if they make a mistake, and they also call out certain spellings, etc., so that the child actually in the primary school gets a strong foundation in terms of reading skills. So that's something that we launched as Google. Khan Academy is a partner with us. We also have very strong and partnerships with NCERT, CBSE, where we're actually talking to them more around, what can we do by building content on Google Classroom, and also provide training at scale on distance learning strategy. Before I hand it over to Vinod for a live session, I would highlight that the online learning environment is not equal to or the same as the physical classroom environment. it needs to have a certain kind of pedagogical practices or strategies. It needs to also have certain nuances in terms of the number of hours that you will spend on a particular topic. How would you pause? How do you test that your children, our students, are actually absorbing these and then go on to the next topics? All of this is something that will come over a period of time with practice, with training, with sharing, and we are committed to taking that journey with you. With that, I'm going to, Francisca, would you like me to take questions, or should we just continue with it?
No, I think let's
continue with
carry
it.
on. So you
Okay,
can take
great.
questions.
So, Vinod, if you can actually go straight into what G Suite for Education is, what does the school need to do on G Suite for Education, and a quick demo on Google Classroom.
Sure, Mani. Thank you so much. I am already presenting my screen. May I request Mr. Thomas to stop presenting? And if you want to pin, I mean, you can pin my presentation. So there is a People tab on the right corner where we have the chat window. Next to chat window is a People tab. You can click on that People tab. You will find Vinod Verma, and it says Presentation in bracket. So please click on that, and there is a small pin icon. You can pin the presentation, so you'll get to see all the slides I'm going to present. Great, thank you. So I will continue, like Bani has already mentioned about G Suite for Education tools. So I'll cover what all tools we have under G Suite for Education. So it's a free platform. There are 13 tools under G Suite. I'll start from the top, where we have a word processor, which we call Google Docs, where we can create documents. Then for creating spreadsheets and report cards, we have Google Sheets. For creating presentations, we have Google Slide. Then yes, to save all your content, resources, recordings, we have Google Cloud. You are going to get access to Google Drive, where you will be able to store all your resources, and it is going to be unlimited for all the users. The next tool is Google Jamboard, which is a sort of whiteboard. So for example, when teacher is going to conduct a session on Google Meet, if they would like to write something on the whiteboard, they can use Jamboard. They can add sticky notes, they can add images to the whiteboard, and they can present to the entire class. The next tool is Google Gmail. This is for sending and receiving emails, so specifically for communication. So every user will have access to Gmail as well. The next tool is Google Meet, what we are experiencing right now. So you will be able to invite students on Google Meet. You'll be able to conduct a video session. You can record your video session. You can do a live streaming of the same session, and you can share the recording as well. Now in Google Meet, we do have chat window, so it becomes really easy for students to post their comment. So we can use the chat window, which is part of Google Meet. The next tool is Google Classroom, which is the LMS, where we are going to create all our virtual classes. From Google Classroom, we'll be able to share resources, we'll be able to share recordings, videos. We can do assessments, we can do grading, we can generate report cards. So that all can be done from Google Classroom. The next tool is Google Forms, which is again a great tool to create a quiz. If you want to create an assessment, you want to give different type of options, if it is going to be a multiple choice answer, if it is going to be a short answer in paragraphs, so all that can be done from Google Forms. You can create survey using Google Forms. The next tool we have is Google Keep. This is again a sort of a notepad where we can take some quick notes. But all these tools are collaborative, so if you want to transfer the information, you can do that. You can transfer your information back to your actual document. The next tool is Google Calendar. We all know where we can schedule all our classes, where we can schedule all our Google Meet sessions. Now, Google Calendar and Google Meet, these two tools are now part of Google Classroom. So they are integrated in Google Classroom. So it becomes really easy for a teacher to start the video conference session directly from Google Classroom. So that is possible from Google Classroom itself. And the last tool is the Google Admin Console, which is really important because this is going to give you the access to the policies which you are going to apply to the user. So students will have different rights, teachers will have different rights, administrator will have different rights. So that all we can define from Admin Console. For students, we can create a list of whitelisted, blacklisted websites, what all websites they can access, what all YouTube channels they can access. So all that can be done from one single console, which is the Google Admin Console. Now, all these tools are web-based. That is the best part. You don't have to download these tools. I mean, you just have to open a web browser like Google Chrome, and you can start using the tools which are under G Suite for Education. So these are the tools I wanted to share about G Suite for Education. I'll do a quick demo on Google Classroom, how we can create classes and how we can share resources. So I've already created multiple classes, but yes, as a teacher, I can just click on the plus sign and I can click on create class. Now this is how I can share information. So I can give a class name, I can give the section, I can give subject and then the room number. So just to be more specific, I can create language wise, or grade wise or section wise. So that's how I can create virtual classes. So it becomes really easy for student, to identify the class they have to join. So I've already created 4 classes. So let's join the demo class. So as soon as I click on demo class, there are 4 tabs you will find in the classroom: stream, classwork, people, and marks. Now I'll share the I'll select the people tab first because I want to share how we can invite students. So there are 2 ways to invite students. One is the class code. Now this is going to be unique for every class. So you can share this class code with the students and they will be able to join using this code. Or when we are going to create IDs for all the students, the G Suite ID, then I can simply add all my students in my classroom. So I just have to enter the email address and I can add the student and I will get to see all the students in my class. Now I can also add guardian's email address if it is required. So that becomes really easy, to share information with the parents. If in case you want to share, then you can add the parents' email address as well. Now, on the same tab under people, I can also invite other teachers to conduct a session for the students in my class. So I can just click on the plus sign, enter the email address of the teacher, and I can invite the teacher to conduct a session for my class. And you can invite multiple teachers. So it could be a subject teacher who can conduct a session for your class. So that's how we can invite students and teachers into the classroom. I'll go back to the stream tab. Now this is where I'm going to see the Meet link I was talking about, which is integrated now. So this is the Meet link which you can generate. Now you can reset or use the same link for all your sessions. So that's how students will also get to see the same link and we can start with the Meet session from the classroom itself. Now stream is a tab where we can make announcements, we can share resources. Like you are going to get unlimited drive storage, so you can save all your resources there. Now when you are going to share resources with your students, you just have to click on add. Now you can go back to your Google Drive to add resources. You can share links with them, you can share files with them. It could be a different format as well. Let's say if you want to share a PDF document, or you can go to YouTube and share the video with the entire class. So that's how we can share resources. Now, when I go to classwork tab, that gives me more option because that using the classwork tab, I can do assignments, I can do quiz assignments, I can ask questions, I can share material, I can reuse the post if in case you want to use it again. Now, quickly, I'll cover, how we can do that. So I can just give a title of the assignment. I can give some instructions. Now, if you want to do a graded assignment, you can open a Google form and you can add questions because in Google form, you can add videos, you can add images, and you can have questions related to either each video or the image. Now, you can also use other tools. Let's say if you want to use a Google Doc, slide sheet, you can just click on create and you can use these tools to create an assignment, or you can just click on add, go to your Google Drive, and you can add the Google form or the assessment you have created from Google Drive directly. Now, multiple options again. Let's say if you have created multiple classes, you can share the same assignment with all the classes, or you can share with one class. Now, for example, if you want to divide the students into groups, you can divide them into groups and then share the assignment, or it can go to all the students. That we can do. Now, you can give points if it is going to be a graded assignment or ungraded, so we can select and give points to the assignment. We can also give due date. Let's say if they have to submit it back by 18th, and we can give a time that they have to submit it before this time and before this date. That we can do. and we can add rubrics on what basis we are going to score them. So that's how we can, fill in all the details. Now I can either click on assign and I can share the assignment with all the students in my class. I can save it as a draft or I can schedule it. So let's say if I want it to go at 9 a.m. tomorrow, I can schedule it and it will go at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So that's how I can use the classwork tab, and I can do, assignments. I can share questions and material and all that. Now, when I'm going to receive the assignment back from the student, that's how I get to see under marks, how many assignments I've shared, who all have submitted, what score they have got. If it is going to be ungraded, as a teacher, I can manually check it and then I can give score. Now, this is how I get to see the score, for all the students in my class. I can convert this information into a sheet format and I can create a report card. So it could be a weekly basis, quarterly basis, or 6 months basis. We can create report cards and we can share with the parents as well from the classroom itself, because we have added the parents' email ID, so we can share the summary and the assignments with the parents as well. So that's about classroom, how we can use, classroom while creating multiple classroom in one classroom itself.
Vinod, do you want to quickly go through Hindi interface on Classroom?
Oh, yes.
How we can actually record ourselves as voice to text?
Yeah, sure. Right. So I have already created a classroom in Hindi, but yes, we can change the language, for a user also, and two ways to do it, either from the admin console or from Google Drive. So like I've already converted and selected Hindi language, so I can now create my classroom in Hindi. Not just classroom, I can even use other tools in Hindi as well. So that's how you'll get to see all the options in Hindi now. Now, again, all the 4 options will remain the same, but that's going to convert in Hindi. Now, let's say if I'm going to, so yes, you can find all the tools in the app grid. So let's say when you are going to click on these 9 dots, you'll get to see all the tools under G Suite. And from there, I can open any tool I want to work on. So let's say if I'm going to open a Google Doc, like I've already selected Hindi language, so it is going to open in Hindi language. Now, all the navigation toolbar on the top will be in Hindi. Right, so we can definitely use the voice typing. So when we are going to create documents, one, we can type and create the document, or we can use the option which is voice typing, Vani Lekhan. So when I go for voice typing, I can select the language. You will find all the international and Indian languages here. You can select the language which you want to use to speak, and then you will be able to create the document in that specific language. So I'm going to select, let's say, English. Now, I have switched it on. Now, when I'm going to speak, it is going to convert my speech into text. So that's how I can select the language and I can create a document with my voice. So that's how we can use the voice typing feature. We can also use the translate option. So let's say if you have already created a document in some other language, and if you want to translate the complete document in some other language, then yes, you can select the language from this list and you can convert the entire document in the other language as well. So that's how we can use the voice typing and the translate document options. Few things, we can absolutely use all these tools in offline mode as well. So let me just go back to the English document. So yes, if you want to convert this document into offline mode, so it's already enabled for me. So yes, we can use this option and we will be able to work on all the tools in offline mode as well. So for students, they can work on the tool in the offline mode, and when they have to upload it or submit it back to the classroom, then yes, they can go back to network and they will be able to submit the document or upload the document there. And one last thing I want to share about the collaboration part. Let's say if you're working on a document, or for example, let's say if you're working on a sheet, let's say if you're creating a report card. Now you will find this share tab on all the tools. So it becomes really easy for you to invite other teachers to work with you on the same document. So again, you just have to type in the email address. You can decide what sort of right you want to assign. Let's say if they can work with you, so they can edit the document, if they can just comment, or if they can only view the document. Now, when you are going to give the edit rights, they will be able to work with you on the same document. So together, as a team, we can work on all the tools. So you can invite people to work with you on docs, sheets, slides. So you can, as a team, you can create the presentation, and they will be able to add their slides. You will be able to add your slides. So that's how we can even collaborate on these tools. Last tool I want to cover, sorry.
Assessments and assignments, yeah, go ahead, Vinod. But I know that, one of the things that are very commonly asked is, introducing different pedagogy for online learning, but also be able to do assessments and assignments, again, both in the synchronous and asynchronous way. So that are appropriate for the certain classes that you're going to actually take. So if you have any examples of, assessments and assignments that can be taken from Diksha, that can be taken from Khan Academy, they can be incorporated, they can be created by you yourself, it can be created as a group, as a collective exercise, because what we've seen is that if the frameworks are, a group of educators who can create frameworks, then it can be applied across subjects. So you would not have to replicate the framework, you just have to customize it and contextualize it to the class or the subject that you're taking and the topic that you have picked up. But all of that is also possible using Google Classroom. There is also a best practice in terms of a teacher, or educator, or principal sets actually following or creating a Google Classroom, and you can then share best practices with each other so that you can help each other actually adopt some of these technological or pedagogical practices quickly. Yes, over to you, Vinod. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Right. So I'll just quickly cover the Jamboard I was talking about, which we can use as a whiteboard. Sorry. So yes, this is the Jamboard where I can change the background first. So let's say if you want to use it as a blackboard, you can use it as a blackboard. You can either change it to rules. You can select rules. Then you will have options to select the pen. Now it works really well if you have a touch device, if you have a stylus, then it becomes really easy to write on the Jamboard. But yes, if you want to use the mouse pad or the touchpad, you can definitely use that, and you can write on that. Now, one, we can write on the whiteboard. Second, we can add sticky notes, and we can also add images in the Jamboard. We can also do a group activity, because in the Jamboard you can create multiple rooms. So let's say if I've created one room, I can invite, again, the share tab is here, I can invite 5 students. They will be working on this room, in this room, as a group. Now I can create another room, and I can do a group activity with another set of students. So that's how we can even use Jamboard for group activities as well. So that's how we can use Jamboard as a whiteboard, and then yes, we can present it to the entire class. Right. So that's all from my end.
Vinod, would you like to? There is a question in the chat. If you could answer that.
Is it a safe and secure ways that schools can create email IDs? Can these email IDs be misused by students, parents in the future, which is linked to this official domain of the school administration? The answer to the question that is it safe and secure to create email IDs, the answer is yes. G Suite for Education is an enterprise grade solution. It has been used by over 150 million students worldwide. Our intent is that when the school provides that domain, the data is with the school, the data is securely managed by the school, as also owned by the school. What we mean by that is not only the domain for the school is identified, but also the admin console that's available on G Suite gives the administrator complete control of what IDs to create, what is the usage of those IDs. And not only are those just as official as you're giving the roll numbers, this security dashboard or analytics that is available on the admin console will give the administrator all the information that they need in case there is anything that is hitting them or anything that misuse that has happened. You will be able to directly find out if at all there is anything happening. And the fact that we have been audited by global firms, we also practice and are audited on security as well as privacy by FERPA, which is COPA, as well as there are ISI certifications that we need to do as Google. So we have a security and privacy page. I will be happy to share it with you all. But yes, it's 100% secure ID. Countries are running their entire ecosystem on Google for Education Technologies, and we've never had any complaints on that. We're also, and the parents and the teachers, the parents' IDs are not available. It will be students and teachers who will be part of the domain and will be strictly managed by the administrator. If a teacher has already created a class on Google Classroom linked to her personal ID, is it migrated to the school ID? Yes, it will be, and it is easy to do that. I would also highlight that it is securer to do that. Because of two reasons. One, because it's the official domain of the school. And second is that whatever the teacher or the student is creating, if they remain in their personal IDs, and the school does not have any administrative rights on those. So these will actually be missed opportunities. That could actually be a resource for the school in the long run. And more importantly, like we said, this is not a one-time or a short-term solution. It's a long-term transformational solution. You will be using it as a blended learning models, whatever is applicable to your school context. So what will happen in the G Suite domain is that because the school is the one that administers it, all these become knowledge resources of the school, and the schools are able to actually utilize it across subjects, across teachers, and also create a knowledge pool within the organization. Now, whenever the school wants to share it, they will again share it as an official school rather than individuals from personal IDs. So there is a huge value in consolidating it, other than, of course, security and privacy. And also the school domain and the teachers' IDs, etc., are created by the school. So the nomenclature that you will use is unique to your school. So you will know that this is an ID and it cannot be misused. Can the school with the domain .com also register to G Suite? Vinod, I think .com also works if that already has been purchased and that's the official domain.
Right, yes. Sure,
Yes.
Mani.
So no problem there. A school with webs.com can register for G Suite. I'm not sure of what webs.com is, but Vinod, are you familiar with that?
Not really.
Yes. So, website, you might have, did you mean, Father Verghese, did you mean that a website which has a .com? Then yes, the answer is yes. But if there's something called webs.com, then you'll have to get this more. Okay, great. Yeah, so we answered your question. Parents are complaining that virtual learning affecting students' health. How can we solve this problem? So now this is always a very sensitive question. I can speak to my own personal experience as also a technologist, as an educator. I believe it is important, and what is paramount is for us to find ways to continue learning. I think that's the fundamental right of that student. So I will start with that we need to find ways to continue that learning and continue that connect with our students. Now the problem comes to what is the ideal model for online learning? Like I mentioned before as well, online learning is not equal to classroom learning. What we really need to think through as schools and as educators is what is the model that we will adapt that will not only help the learning needs of our student, but also we are sensitive to their well-being, we are sensitive to the environment that they are in, and wherever we feel that there are certain challenges on access, equity, whether they are able to do synchronous sessions or not. Do we really need to do all online like these kind of sessions where we all get into video conferencing, or can we send some assessments, assignments, and reconnect to solve doubts? Those are the points that we should be debating on. It does not, in my own experience as a parent, and I have two girls, one in the 8th grade, the other in the 5th grade, they enjoy that experience. They actually got normalcy back into their lives because they had an interaction with their teachers, they had an interaction with their own friends. What I really liked about our school online learning strategy was they did not only depend on academics to fill the 3-4 hours that they were doing. There were yoga sessions, there were drawing sessions, there were dance sessions, there were music sessions. So you start the day with a prayer, you start the day with a half an hour of yoga, but everybody was collectively there, and it kind of brought in that structure that all our children need. So I think that's the part that I would say, that each one of us will have different circumstances, different access scenarios. We need to evaluate what kind of learning environment or online learning environment we can provide. I don't think it's an either or situation. It's like, what can we do and how much can we do in the time that we have with them. Videos are a great way of doing flipped classrooms. You can create videos, or you can actually crowdsource videos or record videos on various chapters and send it to the students. But the teacher must have a connect, whether it's a phone connect, whether it's a video connect through Google Meet, or a group that comes together. I think children learn when they all come together as well with each other. They not only are they learning to collaborate with each other, but they also get the sense of, well-being, that I can see my friend or my teacher. So I will definitely say that it hasn't impacted my kids' health, and they have already been using it for 3 months. They are bright, happy kids because they start the day very excited about the fact that they're doing this. And it has to be addressed in a way that, we can balance the need of the student and what they need to do for learning. Can we use G Suite for education for colleges? Yes, of course. It is available for all accredited education institutions. So all we need is online documents that say, yes, you're an accreditation, and we can approve that. Cost of G Suite for education, it is free of cost. It has always been free of cost. It is not because of COVID or the pandemic. We have been offering G Suite for education for free of cost for over 10 years. So yeah, we will definitely continue to provide that. Minimum speed of internet required for G Suite. So now again, the minimum speed of the internet required varies. We can say that if you want a conversation like this, where there are videos required, all of you have been able to hear me comfortably, and I can hear you comfortably, and that can go on for an hour, 2 hours. I think anything from 3 Mbps to 5 Mbps is okay. However, when you actually go on to YouTube videos or playing some videos, etc., then that's when network requirements increase. I would say that you can be comfortably or reasonably sure that if you are at 5 MB, all your learning needs are sorted. But there has to be a stable connection. It shouldn't be a broken experience, because the products work seamlessly. The products will also work in a low bandwidth scenario. But the idea is that the interaction should be seamless. So that's why we recommend a stable connection. Can a group of schools have a common G Suite ID and school? So if you are a branch of a school, then yes, you can have it, but we can't say that, a consortium come together and then they will have the same common domain, because it's in your interest to have your own individual IDs, and that you're fully aware and own the administrator console, because that's when all the security features come in, because that's when you're worrying, who's assigning those IDs, who's managing those IDs, who's looking through their security dashboards, will become independent or decentralized. I think I've taken all the questions. Here in Nagaland, most of the students come from places where there's a network issue. Is there any chance to solve this issue? So again, I think that the network issue can only be solved by a telecom operator, who will probably be able to guide on what kind of network solutions. Unfortunately, the only recommendation without a network for us is that if a student can go find a network at a place, be able to download some of the Google Classroom assignments and assessments and then work offline, then that's one. What the government of India is thinking about is that we will have to do more, TV and radio for some of those students, and then probably try and get them into a learning center So wherever the panchayat has it, or wherever the learning centers or colleges have some connection, internet connection, they can come in twice or thrice a week, and then they can have a video conferencing or a synchronous session. Otherwise, we need the internet infrastructure to be able to do online learning. When you mean accredited colleges, does it mean NAC accredited? Yes, NAC works, but when you go into our online application process, there are certain criteria which identify you as a school or a college, and which universities are you attached to, and those are the formal documents that you would have to provide. So as a school, I've registered and got 14-day trial period. Can I get a permanent registration? Yes. That's great. So we have already, few schools have gone ahead and applied. So I would request Kurian sir to please tell us what the domain is, and we will help you expedite that process and become a permanent registration.
So Bani, since we have a Google form, I have just mentioned the Google form, which Vinod is accessing.
Yes.
It makes life easier, to
Yes.
gather together, especially for Vinod.
Yes.
So, Mr. Kurian, you can fill up the form, and Vinod usually picks up as soon as it fills up, and he ensures that the approval comes in 24 hours. He's very quick in that. So I think just fill up the form. It might help you if you have finished all these stages, and mention your case number 2.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And is it Android friendly? Oh, absolutely. So we work across phones, tablets, laptops, as well as Chromebooks, like I mentioned. And we like all other products of Google, we are not blocked by any technologies, and we don't have any preference for just Google technologies. Affiliation from concerned universities will do. Yes, sir. Is Gujarat, any schools and colleges are using this? Yes. So in fact, the government of Gujarat is also using it. We have Ahmedabad Smart City that is using it. So there are a lot of schools and colleges that are using it. There are a lot of private schools that have actually gone online. All the efforts that we have done in the last couple of months with Francis also has a lot of schools and colleges. And they're in the process of setting up G Suite. So would you like to speak to that, Francis?
Yeah, so I think today we have also invited some of our regional secretaries, and we have got Father Tellis, Father Johnson, all from Gujarat. Yeah. And also we have got principals from Vidarbha, Marathwada. There is a small group which has come in, and they are not only part of the core team, but they have also ensured that they handhold the other schools in their region. Probably I can request Father Tellis, who's our regional secretary from Gujarat. Is he there?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, can you share 2 minutes about what you're doing in Gujarat for them to just know? You're muted, Father. Father, you're muted.
We have 4 dioceses in Gujarat: Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, Rajkot, and Baroda. And we have 178 schools under us. We have the board, Gujarat Education Board of Catholic Institutions. And 112 registered for G Suite. A number of schools have got it. Some are still trying because they are having difficulty in their personnel. But many have managed to get the G Suite because of Bani and Vinod and others, and Francis sir has been very much helpful. Also Maria and the team, Archbishop Elias.
The list is going to be long.
And we have been very, very, successful in getting things organized in a very beautiful way. And especially we have a priest, Father John Peter, who is also helping the schools, hand-holding them. And many got G Suite because of that. So it is very important that people who know should be helping others. And then we can succeed. It has to be a team effort. Thank you.
Father Johnson, you want to add?
Thank you, Father Tellis. He has said almost everything. I'm looking after the Rajkot region, Rajkot diocese, and Father Tellis is in charge of the whole Gujarat. We have the Gujarat Education Board, so he is the secretary and he is taking care of it. I'm helping him from Rajkot side. We have got a unit in Rajkot, and G Suite, we are doing it well. Many of our schools got registered, and we are connecting our technical person like through Mr. Francis to Murali, and we are doing it. I think it is the way that if you have someone to link between the central committee and the regional committee, the functions are very smoothly done. Father Teles, as he said, if, John Peter is doing Ahmedabad side, he has done it well, and I am doing it in Rajkot side, and we are working together. It's a nice experience. I have completed my school. Children are enjoying it now. Thank you.
We also have, I'm just quickly allowing a few of them to talk. Sister Margaret, are you there from Bombay, from Mumbai?
Yes, I am there.
Please. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Good evening to everyone. And I would just like to say a very big thanks to Mr. Francis because of his initiative. Today we are here. And I think most of the schools in Mumbai could succeed because of the backing from Western region. And I have succeeded with the help of all of you, and special thanks to Google, Mr. Bani also, and Mr. Vinod with Mr. Murli. And we have finished our G Suite, and we also have succeeded in starting the Google Classroom with lots of documents sending and many things. We started from 5th to 10th standard, and I would say that all the schools should join. And it's a common effort from all of us trying to help each other, and cooperation from the teachers and parents makes it successful. Thank you.
Yeah, Brother Shine, are you there from Nagpur? Brother Shine?
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
fine. I was the one who asked that critical question and put Ms. Bani and the Google team into safety and security mode. We have started creating school email IDs for our students, began classes for 12th, trained our 320 students of class 10th in different batches. And I found our students using Google Classroom, Google Meet are very happy. And we had began this online so-called learning from April in WhatsApp to lack of time to get ready for a proper platform to provide online learning. And from this June, the first week of June, we have started using Google Classroom, Google Meet, etc. And our students are very happy, teachers are excited, and then they're doing wonderfully well. Thanks to a lot of training and sessions that we had right from mid of May. Thanks to Archbishop Elias for his able leadership and the team of the Western Region of Catholic Education Foundation, as well as to the Google team led by Ms. Bani and others, coming often and then providing us every possible assistance. And to those who are starting new, I can give you an example of a school in Hyderabad, Little Flower High School, Hyderabad. That is one of the best schools that we have. I brought in the principal of that school, and he managed to register and complete the process of G Suite, I believe, within 3 days' time. The whole thing, he had done it with, of course, I think Mr. Murali was from Telangana, so they got connected by using their language, and the whole job was done in 3 days' time, whereas some of us here in Nagpur and other places were struggling to get connected and register G Suite. So if we have a good technical hand, it is very easy for us to move forward and get this very safe, secure platform to provide online learning for our students. And I believe our teachers also are our parents also are very happy about this initiative that the school has taken. I got 91% of parents appreciating the initiative that the school has taken in providing this Google platform for, and with the WRCF collaboration, implementing online learning. Yeah, thank you very much.
Did I miss anyone? Anyone? Father from Vasai? Are you there? The local?
Yes, Francis, I'm here.
Yeah, you want to share? Yeah, please.
Yeah, surely,
Because
surely.
why
surely.
I want you to listen is because they have all built their own systems of supporting each other, and that's the secret of success, right? Not only doing for your school, but also enabling and strengthening other school. Yeah, please, Father. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Francis. I am Father Thomas Lopez from Masai Diocese, and with regard to G Suite for education, actually we did not have any data collected earlier because we never knew that we'll be in such a situation. So we had to almost start from the beginning, like collecting mobile numbers, collecting the email. That too, parents are we all were locked down, so we had no access to the parents and the students. But we are tried our best now. We are on a good. We have started a few schools. Very few schools have successfully connected their schools with G Suite, and they are trying. And slowly, we are collecting data, and we have registered almost all the schools from our diocese for G Suite. What they have to do is to buy domain and create their website, because some of the schools did not have website. So it is like the beginning from the very initial stage. But now we are trying our best to get connected with all this new technology. And what we are very happy is that we are connecting many schools with the G Suite, and they are learning from YouTube. The challenges in our diocese is that many principals and teachers, they are not techno savvy, and everything is new for them. So this is one challenge that we have to overcome. Secondly, we have many schools which are Marathi medium, vernacular languages. So this technology may be having some limitations for them. So with all these obstacles and difficulties, we're trying our best to learn to have this new way of learning, home learning, online teaching, learning, etc.
Thank you. Thank you. And finally, we have also Maria. She's been a big help in ensuring there is a connect between all schools. Maria, are you there? Maria? I think I'm not getting it. Okay. So,
Yeah. Hello,
Yeah.
Francis. Yeah, I'm
please,
here.
please. You want to share how was your experience?
Yeah, it's been a great experience journeying along right from the first week of May. We have been trying to get all the schools together, asking them to register, and explaining to them, what the children really need. And in this period, where the lockdown period, where the children are just sitting at home and would miss out on so much of their learning experiences, here there was something new that could be offered to them. And Francis has been really the leader. I mean, SLN means school leaders, and he's been the leader in initiating this whole program. And we call it the WRCFE, Digital Education Program, which went out to all schools, was offered to all schools. We got a lot of registrations, and then G Suite was the real solution to this. And Bani, etc., we had a lot of meetings and a lot of hand holding to schools. Also, we had trainings for teachers later on, which are different levels. And now most of the teachers are really excited about this entire program, and I think many schools have started it. I mean, we already got a feedback from the other secretaries over there. Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, and thanks to all.
So the combination of Google, all of us at the core team, and the structure of regional secretaries, and then building buddies of supporting each other, and with a very strong leader, Bishop Elias, who actually attended every single meeting as of now, right? And every YouTube training, I don't need to tell him, he's there exactly at 5 o'clock in the evening, waiting in the link. I think it always helps, right? Because I think realizing that this is a new environment, even he has come as a learner. So Bishop, can I request you to share your thoughts before we ask Bishop Joseph also?
So good evening, everybody. Once again, nice meeting you all. And we have today, we had almost 85 people on board. I appreciate your enthusiasm. And even at this time of the day, we are all here listening to Bani and all different various people who have gone through the process. And I see the enthusiasm in the Chhattisgarh region for this now new venture that which you are getting into. It's managers and the principals of the schools, they hold the key for the whole environment. Create an environment which is new and which needs to change, become little more technological savvy. Therefore, your enthusiasm will count a lot. Those who are managers and principals here, we constantly need to support, encourage, and give a push in the whole process. That is my first point. The second point, I would like to focus on the technical team, which Francis has been insisting on. We have the computer teachers in our schools. Get them together and make them to work on this area, because they are the ones who are supposed to be technologically updated and upgraded and needs to be pushed up. We of our age people are not that techno savvy. I was listening to Google CEO, Mr. Sundar Pichai, his small video is come and I have been circulating it. He himself said when he landed in California, and that time he got the computer at the first time in his hand, where he was excited to use it, and today he's become the almost the CEO, the owner of this Google whole technology development. So all of us, we have little bit fear with regard to technology, and of our age people will surely have it. Those fathers and sisters who are not used to it, or some of our church leaders, but it is our need of the hour that we need to get into this and support and encourage the technological team to get into the field and start working on it. The third point, the process is difficult, my friends. It's not easy. Let's not be just be simplistic. The process is difficult, and it has to be, so that we understand the value of it. And when we go through this process, surely we will enjoy the whole process of getting succeeded and then getting into a new world altogether. And this is where all of us need to do hand holding once again. All your collaborators, your teachers, your staff, all needs to do hand hold and do teamwork. The teamwork will bear fruit. If when we fail, we all fail. But when we succeed, we all succeed, and that creates new spirit in us. The fourth point, the last point, which I would like to be open for change. This technology which is there today, what Bani is telling us, might maybe changed after 6 months, because the technology is changing very fast and very quickly. So be open now. When we start into it, get ready for new changes coming into the technological world. So we have a long way to go. And the first step on the moon was in a history noted down. So also your first step in this technological world surely will be taking you the whole your school, your institutions, your diocese or your organizations will go in a long way. And therefore, my humble request to all of you who are here today, get into it. Unless we swim, unless we jump into the water, we don't learn to swim. So also, this is the experience many of our collaborators are having, that we got to jump in and see how we can swim in this whole ocean where we have a lot of things to learn. So once again, I thank Francis, Bani, and Vinod and Murli. All of them have been in this whole process, and we are still struggling but trying to reach our destiny together. So I wish you all the best and all the success for this team of Chhattisgarh region. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Also, Bishop, I have volunteered that we will support all of you, and so you don't need to worry. We'll just bring an action plan so that we can back you up. This is the time of collaboration. This is the time we should work together. Now we have a lot of experts within the group, who can mentor you and support you, and so we have come with that spirit. Like last time when when someone was mentioning in our last meeting that you want to share the success of this program, we said we are not yet successful. We would become successful the moment in a year's time when parents come back, children come back saying that, wow, this has been a better academic year than last year, right? In terms of teaching and learning. So I think that's the kind of, and I will definitely work with Father Joshi to see how we can structure this out. And now can I invite Archbishop Joseph Mar Dionysius to share his thoughts? Archbishop Joseph.
Thank you very much for sharing and be with you a highly highlighted group, the managers and the principals of the educational institutions, and also experts like Francis and also Bania. My special thanks to Bania, who is the Chief South Asia for arranging all those things, now providing this e-media education so you are amply giving the provision for us. Thank you very much for your gracious presence and presentation. And also all the bishops, especially Archbishop Elias, my concern is also I am representing. So I think it is a good collaboration, good sharing process. Now we can do wonders when three things are combined together. Our commitment and also technology and our efforts. When these three things are put together, we can do wonders. My special thanks to all and my humble blessings and also prayers for the normalizing normal situation as possible. May God bless us all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, Father.
Francis, can I just say
Yeah,
something?
please.
I also wanted to tell you all that Bishop Elias has been so dynamic in initiating these new programs. We also have a program called Education to Family Values, wherein we really go to the core of the family to understand, how to build values. More than just getting academic education, it's about building values and becoming a better person, a better citizen, a better individual, a better human being in life. Even when we started this program, what Bishop Elias did was he also took a survey from parents to know the parents' mind, how much they are going to journey along with their children. And that has given us a lot of insight in helping the parents in making this program a much better learning program for the parents and for the children, and also helping teachers to understand parents, their role, along with the role of the parents. So thank you, Bishop Elias, for that. And I mean, there's the one point that I wanted to make. Thank you.
I just wanted to add that, and when Bishop thought about it maybe like 2 years back, he had to go school by school, convincing everyone, trying to do this program, which is so important, right? Family values was so critical, and but probably that was not probably seen as a pain area by the schools. But when the pandemic came and the pain area was there, we could gather probably in a week, we could gather 500 schools together. So I think family values, the drop, especially in these value system, is also a huge pain area. Sometimes we don't recognize that, So so I just want to add on to what Maria said. Over to you, Father Joshi.
Thank you, Francis. Thanks for this wonderful evening. We really feel empowered and assured by the words of Ms. Bani and the whole Google team. We are blessed with the words of Archbishops Elias and Dr. Joseph Mar, Danish Metropolitan. And we are really inspired by the stories that we heard from Gujarat as well as Maharashtra. I really believe that Chhattisgarh, with all its constraints, the schools spread over, I mean, even in forest villages, still, I feel we can make it. Before concluding, I would like to invite Father Santosh Kotheri, who is the Regional Secretary for Education. Father Santosh, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. We have come to the close of yet another wonderful episode of this webinar series. And today, we had a very relevant and important topic. As we know, when we have so many options of online platforms, we are stuck or we are confused, and we are not in a position to decide how to go, where to go and all. For this, we needed experts to tell us, this is the way, the best, which can take you to your destination. And today we are blessed with a team who are very experts in this field. Ms. Bani, Ma'am, and Vinod, you all and presented this topic in a wonderful way that we have gained a lot. It was very informative, practical, useful, beneficial, and it will help us in a long way, not for one time, maybe transforming through the years. So we are really grateful to you. Therefore, on behalf of all present here, I would like to thank you very much. And also, we are blessed with the archbishops. Your presence, your presentation, your prayers, your blessings are always inspiration for all of us, because we feel you are with us, and your efforts will surely bring us God's blessing to go ahead. Thank you, archbishops. And also, we are blessed with Francis Joseph, has been an expert, has been in this field for so many years, and your vast experience and your vast wisdom and knowledge. And we have seen you have coordinated so many secretaries and directors, and they have told us the success stories about this program. So thank you, Francis Joseph, very much, and we would expect you to be with us always. And also, we know there is an organizing team behind all these episodes of webinar series, and Father Joshi Varghese has been behind it, planning it, coordinating, organizing, and I think it's a tedious task. He spends lots of time and his energy for this day and night. So, Father Joshi, thank you for organizing, planning, and coordinating all this. And we would wish and expect that many more episodes of this webinar series be there in the coming days. And once again, thanking everyone who has been present and contributing to this webinar. Once again, passing God's blessing. Thank you.
Thank you.